Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of Dissecting jQuery. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at the text method. So, while it might seem super simple at first, actually as of 1.4, jQuery 1.4, they made a couple improvements that make it a lot more flexible than you might think. So what we're going to do in this episode is we're just going to write some simple jQuery, and then we're going to take a look at the source code for the text method and learn how we can improve upon it, make it a little more efficient or at least a little more convenient to write. Okay, let's get started. I will switch over to MacVim, and on our page here you see I have an unordered list containing 4 list items. If we scroll below, we're importing jQuery, and now I have opening script tags. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, mostly trivial, is we're going to filter through the list items, and we're going to replace the text of each list item with the current value plus maybe its current index in the wrapped set. Okay, so at first glance, or pre 1.4, we might use and post 1.4 actually, we'd use the each method. So what we would do here is maybe do something like get the unordered list, be very general here, there's only one on the page, so that's fine. And then we're going to find all the list items, and then we're going to run an each method, because for each one we want to do something, right? So we'll run a function. Now this function is going to accept 2 parameters. The first one will be the index, the current index in the wrapped set, and the second one is the element itself, not wrapped in jQuery. And then if we want to replace it, we could say get this dot text, and this text is going to be equal to, I don't know, we'll do element, and then get its inner HTML. Remember, this is just the DOM element. That's just going to refer to the list item element. So you could do inner HTML, or you could do like child nodes 0 dot node value. We'll just keep it with inner HTML. And then we'll do separate it with a colon plus the index. Okay, let's view that in Firefox. And as you'd expect, nettouch 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, but as of jQuery 1.4, we can wrap this all into the text method, because as of 1.4, you can pass a function to the text method. So let's take a look at that right now. Going back to code.jquery.com/jQuery-latest. And what we want to do right now is search for the text method. So as we learned in a previous lesson, most of the time search for text followed by a colon, and you might have to scroll a couple times. So not the text filter, we want it right here, jQuery fn extend. And here is the text method itself. So let's go through all of it. First step, text is equal to a function, and text here is either going to be equal to a string, so it could be, dot text equals hello world, or you can see now as of 1.4, it can also accept the function. So that's what they do here first. They use the built-in jQuery method isFunction. So if what we pass in here is a function, it is an anonymous function, something like this, then do something. And what they do here is they just do a this.each. So it's pretty much the same thing as what we're doing here manually, but by calling text, it'll do it for us behind the scenes. So what they do here is return this.each. They cache, quote unquote, this wrapped in the jQuery object, and then self.text. So this.text, they're overriding it, right? And what is this kind of confusing group right here? It's not confusing. All we're saying here is, remember, within here, text is a function. So this would be equal to an anonymous function. So we call the function. So text.call means you can call that function. And it's going to accept a minimum of 2 parameters. The first one is what will this be equal to? So we're passing that in. We're saying call the function, and this is going to refer to, in this case, the list item, the DOM element. Next, it accepts it accepts a list of values that you want to pass to it. So in this case, we're passing the index as well as self.text and the value. Index, and here with each, it's going to be the element, but here you can use the value. Okay, so let's try that out now, and then we'll come back and finish it up. And this time we find the list item, and we're just going to pass in the text method. So this time, rather than a value, we pass in text. Now, as we learned, what does this accept? We call it right here. So this is what's accepted, the current index and the value. So let's go back and add that in right now. Current index and the value. And so now all we have to do here is something simple, pretty much the same thing. We'll return, and we'll do return val plus, and then we'll just do the exact same thing. view it in Firefox, and we get the exact same thing. So this is what's good to know. If you're not following the latest updates, all you have to do is view the source code, and then you can see, okay, if I want to, I can pass a method. So let's go right here. If it is a function, all we do is we filter through each of the items, and then we replace the text with whatever was returned from the function. And the way you call the function is by doing, in this case, function.call, pass the element, and then pass the index and the value, and set whatever is returned there as the value of the text. Okay. But if it's not a function, what if it's just a string like hello world? Okay, well, they do a quick if statement. They say just as long as it's not an object and it's not equal to undefined, then we run this. So what does this refer to here? This refers to the jQuery object, whatever you're accessing. In this case, it's the list item. But remember, we don't have to wrap this within jQuery because it's already referring to jQuery. So if you were here and you were to console log this, it's going to refer to the jQuery object. So you don't want to wrap the jQuery object in jQuery again. So obviously, by setting the text method, it's going to replace whatever is already there. So they call empty. And then they append. And right here, all they're doing right here is they're appending document.createTextNode, and that's just the JavaScript form to create a new node, a text node, and then they pass in whatever you type in here. Now, truthfully, I'm not 100% sure on why they do it like this. Owner document and document, they refer to the same thing. I'm thinking it's either because of a microscopic performance improvement or maybe an issue with IE where they have to refer to it as owner document. I'm honestly not sure, though. I should look that up. Anyhow, it's the exact same thing as just saying .append document.createTextNode. And then finally, they just return this to allow for chaining. And that's all there is to it. So now, whenever you call the text method, you can either pass in a string. You could still do it manually if you want to do the findli.each. Don't worry, because it's really the exact same thing that's happening behind the scenes. But this is kind of a cleaner way to do it. Or you can always, as of the very first version, just pass a string and it'll set it up. Okay, if you guys have any specific requests on dissecting jQuery, just leave a comment in this posting or tweet at NetTuts. I'll see you guys later. Bye.